Do you remember where you were when you saw the gamer leaning forward for the first time? Holy crap. Underlay!
Let's fucking go.
Let's fucking pronto.
Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there.
Shout out to the moms out there.
Might as well wish a happy Mother's Day to the mother of all short squeezes whenever that happens.
Better to be here than trying to drag Polly out of a bar on a Saturday night, right? Polly's an animal, dude.
Well, that's because we are playing to take over the world, Chuck.
It was our 6th green week in a row. I see inverse head and shoulders everywhere. It's just so like fucking bullish looking right now.
Fitzy, when you try to be bearish, we can call it covet.
The golden cross on the weekly time frame. Nice penetration through that.
It's just lines and penetration.
He showed up in the options chain before he said anything.
And if I'm him, I'm going to load up before I get on social media. And then Wednesday we started seeing the hundreds and the 105s. Yeah, so that's when it started, and they were $69 each. Well, I think it's pity. I'll just say it.
We're not saying anything's going to happen on 512, but if something happens, we were excited the whole time.
I love GameStop. Fucking go.
See, Polly, see.
Thanks everyone for checking out the show. I'm Sean Fitzy.
I'm Paulie.
I'm Echo.
Me llamo Chuck.
And this is the Echo Chamber. GME's win streak hit 6 weeks in a row. Bitcoin hit 100K. The option chain lit up to end the week. And 512 is upon us. Should we care? Do we care? We'll find out. How's it going, guys?
I care.
I care.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Right off the bat.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and set that straight. Polly and I care.
We're here because we care.
I wouldn't be recording on a Saturday at 8 o'clock unless I cared, Fitzy.
Yeah, thanks guys for checking in a little bit early this week. It is Saturday night, 8 p.m. I'm having some issues at work. So we had it's Mother's Day. It's a big holiday for us, but we're having some other stuff going on too. So I'm going to be tied up a lot over the next couple of days. So yeah, we figured let's get this done a little early. And you guys stepped up. I appreciate that. So cool. Thank you.
Yeah. I think our own wives and mothers probably appreciate the fact that we shifted our recording to another day as well. So, we can give ourselves some time back tomorrow, and we can wish them all a happy Mother's Day, and all of our listeners out there who are mothers.
Oh yeah.
And might as well wish a happy Mother's Day to the mother of all short squeezes whenever that happens.
Nice tie-in.
Yeah.
Like a real professional.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there.
Yeah, shout out to the moms out there.
We got a lot in the GME community. I know.
We actually thought about doing the show, just having our moms record and talk about GameStop, but we just it didn't get legs. But maybe an idea for next year, maybe.
Yeah. Happy Mother's Day, M. I know M's one of our Mother's Day games or GME moms out there. So I know there's more, and I'm probably forgetting them, but she came to mind. She's always out there with the kiddos. So
The M in GME actually stands for mom. Not many people know that. So there you go.
I won't be celebrating with my family tomorrow. I'll be running my ass off, sweating. But it's all right.
Alive, man.
It'll be rough. All right, Chuck, how's it going, man? How's your week been?
So far, so good. Got to see the pup again. Super excited about him coming into our lives, and I know he's going to be a big GameStop pup. Everybody's going to definitely be seeing more of him. But yeah, coming back from Mexico, I feel like this week was one of those ones I had to recalibrate, catch up on some sleep, took some naps, mowed the lawn, get back on my groove. So feeling good, happy to be here, and better to be here than trying to drag Polly out of a bar on a Saturday night, right? So it's good that we got him here squared away.
I like that Polly, like on Saturday night, is like
Polly's an animal, dude.
He's out there tearing up the town on Saturday
animal. Night. Just yelling about Purdue basketball. They should have won. It was rigged. It's just it's tough.
I can see that. That's good. Polly, how are you doing, dude?
Pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty decent week. Very busy work wise, which is not a bad thing. I can always appreciate staying busy. So had a lot going on, and then this morning, I think you guys know. I think I've mentioned it on the show before as well. You know, I'm also a Freemason, so we actually had a degree this morning at my lodge, so that was fun. And
You got
it
a
was actually
what?
we had a degree, so it's like an advancement within the organization for someone. So we had someone go from the fellow craft degree to the master mason degree.
Ooh.
And for this guy, it was actually he had an uncle who was also a Freemason, and his uncle drove up from Kentucky to be there.
Wow.
So that was really cool. So like every degree is like a really special occasion, but when you can have a family member that be there for you, and to be there for your special day, it's just like an extra special thing. So that was a really neat thing to be a part of. And then this afternoon we did a little bit of our Mother's Day stuff a little bit early, just because we had our granddaughters kind of make some stuff for their mother, and we went ahead and gave it to her this afternoon. So had them make like some little arts and crafts with some paints and their hands and feet. So that's fun.
That's
Nice,
cool.
dude.
So
Yeah.
so levels are like getting a belt in karate, right? Like you
Uh,
you get a different color belt.
so a
I
little
love
bit
Polly. I love
less.
how Polly
Little,
giggled when he said that.
it's a little bit less sweaty, but
Yeah. All
but yeah, I
right.
mean, you could liken it to that, because it is a significant achievement. But yeah, it's an advancement within the organization, and they are called like the degrees. So the Master Mason degree is the third degree. So
I feel like growing up, I never really knew what. I'm not even sure I still know what Freemasons are. I just assumed you guys were like plotting to like kind of take over the world, and you harbor all the secrets, and Area 51. Like what's going on. It's like this like secret group, kind of like Assassin's Creed. But hopefully, you guys aren't
oh
going out like doing stuff like that. But that's what I
well
always thought
that's
Freemasons are.
that's because we are plotting to take over the world, Chuck.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think that's the point, is that they don't
Yeah.
want us to know exactly
Oh my
what's going
god,
on.
Paul.
Yeah, no. It's just a great organization where good men become better,
Let
if
me
you
in
will.
at
Yeah,
the end of the
yeah,
world. Let me in, Paulie. If you guys start
yeah,
taking over, don't
yeah. No,
don't finish me off.
no. It's a great organization. I enjoy it, and so yeah, it
Nice.
was fun.
Cool. We'll I think Polly's wants us to move off of that.
No, you're fine.
I'm joking.
He
There
just
might be
got
some
17 text messages. Stop.
yeah.
We're listening. We are everywhere.
Yeah.
We are one.
Yeah, that,
Yeah.
that 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 would be the Illuminati.
Yeah, I'm mixing them
Oh.
all up. I'm all over
Yeah, you
I'm all
are.
over the place, Fitzy.
Yeah, it's all right. That's what I was thinking
It's a
too. So,
Saturday,
all right.
getting wild.
Yeah, it is wild. Echo, how are you, man? How's your weekend been?
I am doing well. It's been a pretty good weekend. I had some family over last night for game night, and then Little League game today. My nephew's travel team, so we ended up driving about an hour and a half out and then racing back here for the podcast. So, but
Nice.
went
God,
to
you
GameStop
might need
this
a nap.
morning too. Do what? I know, I'm feeling it, but it's all right. I actually, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like the Saturday schedule because I don't have to feel
Ooh.
so rushed to go to bed for work the next day.
That's fair.
But
Yeah.
yeah, no, my wife and I, we went trying to find some Pokemon cards today at GameStop. And there was a re-release of the Prismatic Evolutions set, so we were there for about an hour and a half today, waiting to try and get some cards.
Yeah, I saw lines all over feeds again. I love that shit. That gets me fired up.
Yeah, I
So
shared some pictures in Discord. I know Tree Fitty shared some, Smalls, I guess his neighbor shared some, and it's crazy to see those lines outside of GameStop and just all the people shopping inside. It's really cool to see.
yeah, so they were for what again now? What was the release today?
So it was a re-release of the Prismatic Evolutions Pokemon cards. Um, so I know my location got like 32 Elite Trainer boxes in. and there were people in line who were really only a few people ahead of us saying that they had been in line about an hour and a half before the store even opened waiting.
Wow.
Yeah, that's cool. I
So
mean, I
do
guess
they limit how many you're allowed to purchase per person? Is it one of those things?
They did. So at my location, they got three. They got the Elite Trainer boxes, some tins that have card packs and stuff in them, and then some sticker sets. So it was like three different items, and they limited those to two per person. So unfortunately, we weren't able to find what we wanted there, or we didn't get a chance. We were too late in line, so walked
Damn.
away empty-handed today. But what's really cool is like those Elite Trainer boxes at GameStop. I think without a pro membership are like $64. With a pro membership, they were like $58. Though, if you find one in a store now, it's $120 for one of those Elite Trainer
Holy,
boxes.
wow.
So that's why people are waiting in line for an hour and
that's
a half before they
crazy.
open, because you're getting half off if you're a pro member than what you're going to find at any other store.
Crazy.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Eh,
So how do they find out? How did you find out about it? Like, was there in an email or?
So there's channels on X. There's people
Oh
who will
yeah.
post. I've honestly, a lot of times I see because people in the community will post a picture on the door. On the door, it'll show how much Pokemon items or whatever they're getting and when it comes out. Usually it's a Saturday.
Sweet.
Um,
Well, there
and
you
so
go.
I've been seeing people in the community sharing those around. And so then I'm like, hey, well, we need to go check out on Saturday if they have stuff coming. And usually it's been right. So
Nice. So there you go. Follow GameStop people on X, like Daniel.
exactly, it's a
and
great
it just
community. If you want to get the deals, the GameStop community, we got your back.
and it just
Yeah.
plays so nicely into the like dying brick and mortar when you see these lines. It just never gets old. Just wait, why are there
Oh, for
lines? Wait, what? People are going
100%.
people are going to
Because
GameStop? What? There's demand? Huh?
well, it's funny you say it. Even today, as we were in line, there were people driving by, I think 4 or 5 times, rolling down their window, asking, "What are you in line for? Are you all in line for GameStop? Like, what game is coming out?" I mean, it sparks curiosity in GameStop. It's got people wondering, "Hey, what's going on over there?" Which I think is really cool. It's part of that nostalgia, and I like it. I love GameStop. Let's fucking go.
And cards are just making such a I don't know if I'd call it a comeback because I don't follow it as closely, but it just seems like collecting cards and the Pokemon cards, it's the crypto cards. It's never been more popular seemingly than it is now. And GameStop's in just a great spot to be the delivery of, those goods. So, I mean, kudos to them.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. I think it's cool. I like seeing the lines. I like the excitement. I think, the fact I was talking to Echo about it, it's a bummer that not everyone can get one. But maybe that'll build even more excitement as people start knowing that they need to, maybe get there sooner, or I don't know. I just like the excitement around GameStop and people stopping and asking what's going on. All that shit's really cool. So yeah, I think they're doing a good job with that. I really like how they're handling the Pokemon stuff.
Echo, I hope
So
when you were in line, you were holding a sign like that guy who holds signs. It just says "Buy GameStop." You just holding it, not saying anything. People drove by.
GME though. Say by GME, then well, I mean by GameStop. Well, I don't know.
Well, yeah, same.
People would be
Okay,
more confused
buy
with the GME.
GameStop. Yeah, buy GameStop. Put in the parentheses dollar symbol GME. There we go.
Hey, there you
It
go.
was kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie, because I was in line with all of those people, and it was like that meme of the guy standing in the corner at the party, like they don't even know. They don't even know I'm an investor.
They don't even know I have 69 shares. They don't even know.
I'm part owner here.
I basically own this place. Everybody get
Yeah.
out of here. Let me get first
I,
dibs.
I'm gonna need someone to clean up the sidewalk too while we're at
Yeah,
it.
it's
Yeah,
a mess.
Get out of my
So
store, people.
Great.
all right. So we'll move on to the chart.
Can I show a chart? Can I analyze a chart? I feel like it can analyze a chart, It's not a science. Can I look at the chart a little bit? Check out that chart though, huh? Can I do charts real quick?
Cards.
Look at that. Look at that. Look at that line right there. I mean, no, we used to do charts. We used to do charts back in the day. I think it can be fun. Let me just get to the chart real quick. Wait, can I draw? Hold on. Let me see if I remember how to do this. Oh, I do. Right there. All right, look at that. Look at this. It's like jumping up and jumping down. That chart was just bullish.
It was a good week. It was our 6th green week in a row. So I like that. So last week when we were going over the chart, I had mentioned that there was a double top, and I was a little cautious. But still, I'm always optimistic when it comes to GameStop. That was about as bearish as I get, and I was about right with that. Like, there's that gap down at 25.25, and I didn't think we'd hit it, and we didn't. Monday and Tuesday were pretty rough. I will say that. We started getting the people calling for 20 again on Tuesday. You gotta love that. It seems like every time we go down 1 or 2%, all of a sudden everyone starts coming out with these crazy low price targets. But I'm looking at the chart. I'm just bullish right now. There's everything that's going on with GameStop is so bullish. I can't see us falling down anywhere near that. 25 now feels like amazing support for us. We bounce off the 25.50 or above 4 times now. And this last one, each one has been a very nice bounce. So we're not even getting down there to the 25s before we start going up again. So yeah, we bounced Tuesday, end of day. Wednesday was a little bit of chop, but we did get a lot of good price action. Well, I don't know about price action. We got a lot of good option activity on Wednesday. Anyways, so yeah, we got lots of good option activity. We'll talk about that in just a second on Wednesday. Thursday was more sideways chop again, but Friday the option activity really hit us home again, and we finished really strong. We're up 2.84%. GameStop right now is at 27.54. I just we seem to finish our weeks strong. It feels like, I guess maybe not last week, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to look at the
Strong
chart.
enough.
Yeah, I know. Not a lot happened when you're looking at the chart outside of that nice bounce. If you look at the weekly, we flipped green on MACD for the week. That was nice. That was very bullish. We seem to do that right at the very end, but we have a really nice doji candle on the weekly as well. And we finished green again, not by a lot. I think it was by 4 cents. Maybe, yeah. It fucking counts. But
does.
the way we finished it is what's really, we went all the way down there to the low 20.25s, mid 25.67, and bounced all the way back up to finish green on the week. That was solid, and it was helped out by the option chain. We've been looking for that for a while there, but we'll get into that in a minute. Paulie, how's the chart looking to you this week?
Yeah, so lots of great things that I saw on the chart this week. Obviously, finishing green matters, and getting our 6th green week in a row is really encouraging. I also posted on Thursday what I was seeing with the moving averages and kind of the setup. We kind of talked about what we were expecting to see last week, and we got that on the daily. So we got the golden cross on Friday. So that was the 50-day moving average did cross the 200-day moving average. So that is bullish.
Yeah.
And that's exciting, but we also have on the weekly, the 50 week is converging with the 200 week. So we're about to get somewhere, and it's hard to say exactly when, because we don't know exactly how much the price action is going to react to the bull cross that we just got, right? So, if everything just kind of stays moving in the same sideways action that we've had recently, then I would say within the next month we're going to get that weekly cross. But if we get any sort of an explosive pop, then it could be as soon as next week, right? So, and anywhere from like the next 1 to 4 weeks, we should see the golden cross on the weekly time frame as well. So that's exciting to see. And then also, when you're kind of zoomed out, if you're looking at a chart anywhere on like the 30-minute to 1 hour or 4 hour time frame, then you're probably seeing a cup and handle forming. You might also even see like a little bit of an inverse head and shoulders. So just
I
kind of
just
depending,
yeah.
depending on what your eyes are maybe attuned to look for, then that might depend on what you kind of
I
see
see
first.
I see inverse Head and Shoulders everywhere. Like, even when they're
Right,
not there sometimes,
right.
I see them everywhere. But yeah, I was as you were talking, I was, like, making a note for myself, and I see it. It looks good there, but go ahead.
Yeah, and so the reason that I started to see the cup and handle was because of the way that we ended the day on Friday. It's because that sideways price action just kind of, starting to make that handle there. And normally your handle might go down a little bit, but sometimes they just go sort of straight out too. And on Monday we may get some sideways price action, we may get some downward price action. We may just go straight up. I don't know. Um,
Yeah.
it could go any one of those three directions, but the setup is there, is what I'm saying. And so with a cup and handle, and it is very similar to an inverse Head and Shoulders, just because a lot of the same support structures are there. But with the cup and handle, you have sort of this very rounded formation, and the way that you form your price target is you take where it starts to dip down from that point to the bottom of it. You measure that drop, and then you go back to where it started, and that's where it might start to level off again. You take that amount that it dropped, and you just go to the point where it started, and you add that drop to it, and that's your price target. So in this instance, our our drop is more or less about $2. I'm not trying to be very precise here. And so that puts our price target somewhere in the 29.50, 29.60 range, if this is a cup and handle that's going to play out. So what makes that exciting for me is that if a cup and handle does play out and it reaches its price target, then that goes right through the price levels that are problematic for shorts that we've seen time and time again, especially at this time of last year. And so, like if you're looking at the price charts from last May, like every time the price hit this price level, that is where things got wild. And that's also where the convertible bond goes delta neutral for the bondholders, and they will start to defend that price level. So I just find it really interesting that the way that this, you know, recent dip out of the sideways action that we got, sort of has set things up really nicely for a nice penetration through that bond hedging line, so to speak. So
I
it just
I just
it looks very interesting to me, and I
you can say it. We're gonna break it.
yeah, I don't want to make any guarantees, obviously, but it's just, I mean, there's so a lot of really really interesting things that are lining up right now with the timing on it. And we try not to overhype things, but it's hard not to look at this in the way that
It's
everything
just
has
it's
lined up with the
lines.
timing and everything. It's just like, man, there are no coincidences, are
It's just
Yeah.
lines and penetration. That's all it is.
there? Right.
I giggled too. So the high,
Yeah, like he said,
Right.
penetration.
yeah,
My brain immediately goes to the wrong
yeah,
place. Good for Paulie for keeping it together.
I don't
yeah,
blame you.
you did. You knew right when you said it too, I'm sure.
Yeah, you know what he was saying.
The high 28.35 from last week. After that, there's some resistance up to 29, and then 29.82 ish. Let me see what exactly that is. 29.80 is the high from
Mhm.
earnings, and then after that, we got our gap up at 31.77. I mean, there's not a lot of volume in between those levels.
Right.
We really shouldn't spend time. We said it a couple weeks in a row now. Once we break through 30, as long as we can get through that with some volume. But yeah, we're right at that point. I think over 28.50. it's gonna start getting it should start getting pretty loose. You know, it's GameStop.
Yeah.
It never does. They don't let us just go freely unless they do. Unless it's that
Yeah.
time. What you never know.
Yeah, well, and it's just interesting kind of way that all this has played out too, because I've talked about those lines that I have drawn on my chart before too, like the one from bond hedging and the other one from the earnings gap, and how, you know, if we're going to make it into those resistance areas, it's going to take a lot of volume, because those areas represent lines that were drawn from gaps, and just the way that the chart tends to react. If you're going to get into that area intraday, then it acts as resistance, right? And so, because we have had extra time play out since we last tested that resistance area, now that resistance line has moved higher. And so right now that line is sitting just a little bit above $30. And so, you know, based on what I just said, if we're in a cup and handle that plays out and we bust into that 29.85 level, right where the convertible bond becomes neutral, then that would be where I would expect to see some heavy volume coming in because of shorts flipping positive. So I just find that very interesting, because that could be the kind of thing that flips a lot of volume to come in and send things right through that particular zone, which is, you know, right now that particular gap between those two lines, it goes from $30 all the way to 35.50, based on how much time has passed on the chart. So I mean, it's obviously all completely speculative, but you know, we'll see if that happens. But I mean, if we get a massive amount of volume pushing through that line, then that would be sort of confirmation of the theory. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I
Right now,
could think, I could think of
now
some
it's
ways
just a
we get
theory.
volume. I could think of some
Yeah.
ways we might get some volume in the days ahead.
Right.
Yeah.
Speculative right
Right.
now, but I think a lot of people are talking about it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. We got the option chain I want to talk about. That's definitely one way we can get some volume. Just looking at the chart, it's just so like fucking bullish looking right now. We're in the Discord, you know, every pullback in the last couple of days. Now that I know that those options are on the chain, and we'll just, I guess, get to it. I feel very confident about how things are going. Real quick, IV's at 67.7. I bring that up because, you know, that's still low. It's up 11 points yesterday. We got down to the 56, I believe, is what I saw intraday on Wednesday or Thursday. So, you know, time and again, we bounce. I'm just saying, if you do like to play options, watch IV. If we get down to the 50s, that's a pretty good signal that something, we're about to bounce a little bit. I mean, 2.5% yesterday, nothing great, but that 11 points on the IV jump helped calls a lot. I know it helped me, and I know that there's some folks who like June calls, and all that got helped by those 11 points. So just keep an eye.
Yeah, and someone pointed something out to me earlier today as well that I didn't even notice. So like we talked about it before on the show, the fact that the GMEU ticker is now a thing, but I didn't even realize that it has options already.
Oh yeah.
And because it's a 2x bull, it has double the IV.
Oh.
So if you are an options seller out there and you do things like sell cash secured puts when you are bullish, take that information for what it's worth, and you can collect double the premium when you are feeling like selling cash secured puts on GME. You could sell cash secured puts on GMEU for approximately the same amount of money, but collect double the premium.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Speaking of cash secured puts, Wednesday,
Right.
you know, Wednesday was the first time we actually got something on the chain that got me excited in a very long time. We started seeing a whole lot of 100 and 105, $100 and $105, saying that weirdly, puts for January 2026, heavy towards the bid side. So they were sold and they were just coming in all day long. So I'm looking at my post on it, 2.6 million. They're coming in 2 million at a time. I think Reese is the first. Reese is so quick, man. But he got that first post, and everyone's fired up now because, we start seeing 6 million. It was the 105s that ended up with the most, but it
For
was
sure, he's got his unusual whales feed alerts fine tuned. It's pretty impressive.
yeah, it is pretty impressive. I just keep an eye on him nowadays. It seems in the numbers.
Yeah, it's easier.
Go from there. So like 20 million on the 105s for the end of the day. So, they had to put up a lot of cash. That's the cash secured part. And then they got, whatever the premium that they were selling them at. I think the average fill was right around, $78 on some of them. I'm trying to remember where was some of them were filling for $69.20. I'll have to, or $69.40. That might have been the
Yeah,
day
because
before.
price was around $26, I think, when it was happening.
Yeah. So lots of money is kind of my point going around there to do with whoever sold those puts. They had to put the money up front, but now they have this cash back as well to reinvest how they would like. So, they're a bullish bet. We had quite a few people comparing them to the 125s that we saw coming in November to basically January. And, Twitter feed's a bit of a mess. I'm trying to use that as a reference, but sorry, May 6th was when so the 95s came in on the 6th. So that was Tuesday. And that was Reese 12 million in sold GME $95 puts. That was Tuesday morning. Well, Tuesday afternoon. Yeah, so that's when it started, and they were $69 each. So we saw that Tuesday, and then Wednesday we started seeing the hundreds and the 105s being sold as well. But they were added to the chain, so they were sold to open. The 95s were, and then again with the 100s and the 105s sold to open. And as of yesterday, they were still on the chain. So super bullish. Who knows what else is going on? We're seeing all these dark pool trades come through that are attached to the bond trades, and I'm not. We see some stuff coming through that has other legs. I don't know. I'm trying to come up with a way that it might possibly be bearish, but I don't really see it. But that's kind of what they're trying to.
Fitzy, when you try to be bearish, we can call it cubbish. It's like a little bit
Cubbish.
bearish, but you're a cub, yeah.
It's adorable.
Yeah. So I don't know. That wasn't. Anyways.
Yeah, no, I mean when those sold puts came through, it was like putting the brakes on the downward price action, right? Because it immediately required hedging action to come in. So you could see it on the chart because the price reacted right away. So I mean, you can kind of see that's kind of where the V got formed on the chart when all that came in. So I mean, even if you don't have a great understanding of how options hedging works, if you knew that that's when those came in and you just kind of started looking at the chart, then you could say, oh yeah, that's kind of a bullish trade. So I mean, it's pretty easy to tell that activity is positive for GameStop, because those are deep in the money puts, and the market makers on the other side of that trade have to have shares to hedge for that.
So looking at the chain right now for that. So as of close yesterday, well, I guess as of open, because we need open interest to update, but right now on the chain, there's 2,451 of the 95s. There's 527 of the 100s and 1,410 of the 105s. So everything that came in Tuesday and then Wednesday, it's all still there. And this is January 2026. So that's definitely further out. But then we rolled. Thursday, like I said earlier, was kind of like, man, not much happening. But then we rolled right into Friday, and Friday's fuck. That's my new thing. Sorry, that was kind of aggressive, but the last, well, I don't think the last one was good, but other than like the 4 or 5, our Fridays have been pretty strong, so that's nice. I like that. But we rolled right into a whole bunch of 20s coming in Friday morning, and it just, like 10 million worth of 20s hit at, let's see what time it was, 10:30 in the morning East Coast. There were May 23, May 23rd 20s, as well as June 20th 20s. That is OPEX for June. That is where, so it was like $4.5 million on the May 20s, and then $4.5 million on the June 20s. The Mays, according to Unusual Whales, were evenly split bid to ask. So I'm not sure there with those. But the Junes, the 620s are, 78% at the ask. So bought. And then you start looking at the fills, and there's a lot that could go either way. And they were just kind of all bought at the same time. So and then it kind of just ended for the day. We saw a little bit more action when it came to those. And then at the very end, well, no, sorry, I guess before that at 7, oh no, sorry, at 9, 10, 11, 12. So noon, see me counting. Noon East Coast, we got another massive trade. Then I have no clue what it is. 6 million on December 20s, 2027 December, and then 6.66 million on December 2027 50s. So it was a total of like 13 million almost that came in on December 50s and 20s. It's neutral. The size of them is interesting, 7,400 to 3,700. I think it's closer to bullish, because I think the 20s were, the 20s were at the ask. So 5.92 million at the ask, 6.6 kind of split. No, that's at the bid. All right, so who knows? I don't know what's going on with that shit. After seeing all of the puts on Wednesday, and I guess now Tuesday, the ones at 69,420, and then everything we saw Wednesday, everything staying on the chain, and then us starting out Friday with all of these 20s, it totally, well, it made me even more bullish than I already am always, and I have been. But it gave me like some level of comfort that, well, I think it's Kitty. I'll just say it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I don't see someone mention that this could be a way to rug us at earnings. I mean, they don't need to put millions of dollars on our chain to rug us at earnings. Fucking around on GameStop's chain is almost like their last ditch effort. So if we start seeing this kind of stuff from the hedgies, air quotes, whoever, whatever, the algo, they're doing this stuff to rug us in a couple of weeks. That's even more bullish. I think like it's the strike, it's the expiration in June that he was buying back in May 2024. So I don't know. It's exciting. I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about, I guess, well, I don't know. Paulie, do you got anything on those calls? Or the option chain?
I mean, there was so much going on, and I think part of the strategy here, especially because I think some of this is Roaring Kitty, and some of it probably is not, but I think some of it definitely is, and some of the strategy probably is that there is going to be so much signal that it's hard to filter the signal from the noise, and
Yeah.
I feel like one of the things that stood out to me was those calls that came in. It was the 20s, and those were 2 weeks out, deep in the money, right? The average fill on those was marked as $7.46, but that's suspiciously close to $7.41, right?
Yeah.
We're not gonna get too hung up on the specifics there, because those were filled over about a 5-minute time frame, I want to say, and they were filled, I think, about 1,000 at a time. And so when you're sending in orders that large, you probably have to give yourself some slippage and make sure that the order is going to actually go through. So you probably can't expect a precise price if you're the buyer on that kind of a trade.
Yeah.
So I just thought it was really, really interesting that, we were trading right around 27.41 when those came in, and that was pretty interesting. So
Yeah.
and it was on the 1-year anniversary of the run Lolo run tweet being liked. So I feel like things like that just feel like signals from Roaring Kitty, just little wave like, hey, I'm still here.
There will be signs, right?
Right, yeah, and it's stuff like that, because like, do I expect him to post tomorrow night? No, I do not.
Yeah.
Because as cool as that would be, I don't expect it. There's I'll explain, because there are people out there who look at the phenomenon of GameStop running last year, and they're like, oh well, that's all retail FOMOing because Roaring Kitty came back, and they try to explain away what happened because they think that Roaring Kitty is the cult phenomenon that somehow had 1 billion shares traded over the course of a couple of months, and that's just like, we all know that that's not the truth.
Yeah, not at all. 3 billion over a month traded. Right. Yeah. It took like a year to do that prior, or 2 years even, but go ahead.
Yeah. We know that that's just, there's no way. And I think that it makes more sense for him to sit back and quietly let the volume come in without engaging on social media, because whatever he has done is set in motion, and it's going to happen whether he posts or not.
Yeah. And if I'm him, I'm going to load up. I'm going to load up before I get on social media. Sorry.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Which is exactly what he did last year too.
Yeah.
He showed up in the options chain before he said anything. And the volume last year, for those who are savvy and look at the chart, you can tell looking at the chart last year, the volume was already picking up before he said anything. Like you guys know, I was late to the party. I didn't buy my first shares until last June. You guys were already paying attention. You Fitzy, you saw it the day that he bought his first lots of 5,000 contracts. You noticed that in real time. There were people who were paying attention and saw that happening, and you even were pretty sure that it was Roaring Kitty at the time. So there's a couple of ways to look at it, but to assume that the volume came in because of Roaring Kitty is just it's a completely false narrative. Now, is he actually? What I think was a really good explanation for it was in Heartbeat Trading's video last week. He was talking about the way that the 20-week cycles are playing out and everything, and what he described it as is, he says, the cat is amplifying what's already going on because he's playing on top of it. And that is a much better way to describe what's going on because he has figured out what's going on with swaps and all of this other activity. And he says, okay, I'll play your game. If you can't beat them, join them. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, that's what's going on here. And so when he posts the gamer leaning forward in the chair, that's him saying, game on, I'm playing this game too. And if everybody else wants to jump in too, sure, fine. But the amount of volume that came in had very little to do with him awakening the masses. That's people trying to explain away the phenomenon because they don't want to admit what actually is going on behind the scenes.
Nah, and I was looking at the option chain from back then. From before, it wasn't retail. That volume wasn't retail.
Mhm.
There's no way that we did 3 billion in a month because of retail. It's the same people who say that the offerings, that retail, the money from the offerings are on retail's back. That's not on our back.
Right.
That's the shorts rolling their position and fucking letting off steam or doing whatever they got to do with the swaps. That's
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
that was.
Yeah. Just the week before he posted, there was 159 million shares traded.
Oh yeah, that was great. Oh yeah, we saw it coming in. I was gonna kind of talk about what happened last year this week because it was when a lot of people jumped in. There's a lot of people, GameStop kind of. So May 12th was when Kitty. Well, actually, it was what, May 10th or 9th. He did the Run Lola Run. He liked Run
It was
Lola Run.
May 9th was the day.
Okay. Yeah. So he
Yeah.
liked that. And I think it took us like a day or so. Some people saw it quicker, I guess. That's not possible anymore. So that was the 9th. And then on the 12th, he did the guy leaning forward. It was a Sunday. I remember because I was getting ready to go into switching jobs at the time. And it was the last day at another job. And I just got done tweeting about how it was the anniversary of the Oops, Moas, My Bad tweet. We talked about that last week. May 12th has a lot of significant things happening on it, including, I
Right.
got to ask Tim, we're running close to the end here, so we can kind of just do, including significant things happening this year, like RC deleting tweets from May 12th. So, they're, and retweeting tweets from May 12th as well. So he's kind of pointed us to a tweet from May 12th, the same day as Oops, Moas, My Bad in 2021. So I don't know. That's newer stuff that gets me excited. We'll find out probably after this gets posted and edited because I'm gonna be working so much. I'm not sure I'll be able to get this out before we open Monday morning. So we'll know if something happens over the weekend.
And here's the deal, right? We're not saying anything's going to happen on 5/12, but if something happens on 5/12, we want all of the credit.
Yeah, every
Is that
bit of
fair
it.
to say?
Yeah, we called that shit.
And we're not going to hype 5/12, but if something happens, we were excited the whole time.
Yeah.
Totally.
Oh god.
Totally.
The whole hype stuff. I tried to be not hyped. I tried that Thursday night.
De-hyping hype with Fitzy.
Yeah. And it lasted 12 hours and then I was hyped because we got the 20s. Like I didn't make it.
Dude, you're like a battery. Just get charged up.
We didn't make Thursday night it was a no hype zone. And then Friday morning the 20s came in and I was out the goddamn window. We were hyped. Yeah, because it's that time of the year. May 12th it ran in 2021. That was the start of the the movement up in 2021 May as well.
Yep.
Last year,
steady green. Steady green.
Oh yeah, May's just the month. So which also scares me, right? Like
right. Sometimes you expect something, right? We all expect something, and the opposite sometimes can happen. Just be prepared for everything, right?
Yeah. Well, that's why those calls got me so fired up, is because like back then in 2024, we had seen those calls come in, like Polly was saying, and we'd watched them. And that's what we're doing right now. We see a bunch of calls come in, we make sure they stay on the chain, and then as that happens, they stay on the chain. GameStop keeps getting more and more bullish. I get more and more bullish as we go. I feel like, all right, we got whoever this whale is. I think we were calling him forget what we were calling him back then. It was
El
Kitty
Jefe.
and all. But yeah, it was something. But whoever the whale is, he's in. We're still in, right? Because he's definitely got a lot of money on the line. It makes everyone feel a little safer. So, yeah, Kitty came back on May 13th. That's when the meme movie started.
Mhm.
Yeah. I'm trying to make sure because the week after that was when all the calls were being bought.
Yeah,
And he was buying.
the 12th was the gamer leaning forward, and then the movie
God.
started the next day.
Yeah.
Do you remember
so
where you were when you saw the gamer leaning forward for the first time? Holy
Yeah,
crap.
I was at work freaking the fuck out. I'm not even lying,
Dude.
guys. That was so exciting when that came out. Like I was in the office on my last day of work. I was about to just leave. I
You're
didn't
like,
give
I
a
own
shit.
this restaurant now.
Yeah, fuck it. Yeah, that was so hype. And then the meme movie and the I'll do it myself is the first one he posts too. Oh man, I get chills just thinking about it right now.
Fine. I'll do it myself.
How awesome that was. And then what happened, like, I was posting the option chain, we're getting, you talk about 5Ks the week after, but someone was buying 10,000 contracts at a time then, and then selling them thousands at a time later on in the day. It was Kitty. Kitty was just fucking the first 2 days of the run. Kitty was making bank. You can see it. He had a whole bunch of 10s and 12s that he bought in mid or to late April, and then he started selling those. He was selling those on the 13th and even the 14th and even some on the 15th for insane profit. Like it's crazy. Like he was buying them for like 5 cents and selling them for $98. Just stupid shit. So yeah, he definitely could have the money. So, we touched 80 in pre-market that Tuesday morning. So that would be the 14th. I forgot that. I had to go look. I thought it was Wednesday, but we hit it Tuesday morning. We pulled back down to about 36 by Wednesday, but we closed Wednesday at 50. That was pretty much it. We ran a little bit fit in after hours on Wednesday. Thursday morning was just a kind of an ugly day. And then Friday we got the offering announcement from RC. So I'll reiterate that RC did not rug pull us then. We touched 80 Tuesday morning, and he waited all the way till Friday. If there's going to be a criticism, maybe he waited too long. But I think he did good by retail then. He's trying to let us do our shit. Didn't want to rug us so bad. In June, he didn't really care too much in June. So yeah. So we're entering the exciting week. This would be the Requel week. And it's pretty fucking cool that we got a whole bunch of calls to kick it off, the Friday before and then a whole bunch of puts the Wednesday before that. I don't know. I'm fired up. It's fucking cool. I feel good about it. Chuck, you got anything else you wanted to get in there?
I think the only thing I would say is we continue to kind of be waiting on all things Bitcoin. I think generally speaking, Paulie's outlined, and you can check it out in the previous episodes, where there could be a way they've been accumulating Bitcoin, and people that are criticizing now are just being a tad impatient. But, I think we may know, between now and June, whenever the June the 13th?
Yeah, it'll be like the 10th when our earnings
10th,
probably is.
somewhere around there. Like we should theoretically know between
Could
now
even
and
be
then.
June 9th.
Right.
Yeah, yes.
So I think what I keep trying to put
Right.
out there is you're going to want exposure to this. And I think if you already have existing exposure, the fact that people are, selling now which again, that's your choice. You can do whatever you want, but to not wait between now and then, just seems like you're potentially missing out on a massive opportunity.
Yeah, I agree. Good job. We didn't even really talk about Bitcoin. It broke 100K, and then the voices got even louder. What about RC? Paulie, your part from, I think it was last week, was getting passed around. That was kind of cool from our show.
Yeah.
And
I just
Yeah.
keep replying to that to anyone who says like he definitely has not, and I'm just saying, okay, well, you can't really say that with certainty, right? There are theories, one that you put out very nicely that maybe debunk that. Maybe if it's part of a strategy or it's part of something and it's ongoing and it hasn't quite concluded, could they make the argument, delay the filing? Maybe we find out. Who knows? But I think people that are just saying, nope, he definitely did not. I don't think you can really say that right now, is what Paulie's trying to say.
I agree.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, because like the fact of the matter is, like, the SEC has very loose rules on what constitutes a requirement for an 8K, and so there's a lot of room for interpretation. And so the heart of the matter is that if you have a development that is material to investors, then you need to disclose it. What my argument has been is that if you have an ongoing action that is jeopardized, that the completion thereof is jeopardized by early disclosure, then the SEC will give you latitude and allow you to complete that action before disclosing it. And so the analogy that I would give you is like with a merger or acquisition. You're not going to announce to the world that someone came forward with a letter of intent. You're going to wait until that you've had some sort of a board vote or some other signed agreement before you go out and share with the world that you have an official actionable thing going on, right? And so the whole premise here is that if they're going to be clever about the way that they start with Bitcoin, then they could do something that employs that ongoing action. I don't want to call it a loophole, because it's not even a loophole. It's just like that's a strategy. Like they're being clever, but they're not being underhanded.
It's
right?
dancing around legalities. That's all it
Right.
is.
Yeah. Like it's not doing it in a way that's like, haha, gotcha. It's doing it in a way that is acting in the best interest of shareholders, because if they're trying to do something that is going to get them both the best price and give them the best entry for the most amount of Bitcoin possible, then that's exactly what I would do, is to do it that way. Because if they're just trying to get a little bit, then yeah, they could get some, and no one's really going to care. But if that's all they were doing, then they wouldn't need to announce anything at all, because that's not a material announcement. And then it would just show up on their balance sheet at the next quarterly, and then people are going to be upset because they didn't buy enough. But
Yeah.
then they're gonna show a huge beat on earnings, because Bitcoin might be at 120,000 or 140,000 by then, right? And so like you've got sort of this paradox where if they buy too small of an amount, people are going to be upset,
Yes.
but they will have made a significant amount of money in unrealized gains. So yeah, there's a lot going on there. But I'll also add, and I know we're short on time, that in addition to the dollar cost averaging theory that I had cooked up, Josh Mandel had seen that earlier this week, and and I want to thank, I think it was Lucas Kafka who sent him that, and he was like, okay, now you're messing with me, because that really got his brain spinning. And so then he put out this post that said, I've got a white hat for white hat thinking, a black hat for black hat thinking, a Machiavelli hat for Machiavellian thinking. And then he put out this like great theory on what strategy might be doing, and then he threw at the end, And, GameStop's along for the ride. They might have a loophole in 8K filing requirements, and they might have dropped their entire $5 billion into Bitcoin at 84,000. He just kind of threw that in at the end. And so then Swami C's from our Discord has been kind of running with that as well. And I think Josh Mandel and Swami and I are kind of just all on this one thought here, where it is entirely possible that Ryan Cohen has had the foresight to do some sort of forward settled agreement with a broker like Coinbase or Fidelity or someone, where they got a rate lock on Bitcoin while it was well below 90,000, maybe even 84 or 80,000, to say, hey, we've got all this cash and we're going to give it to you, but we don't want the Bitcoin yet. We want you to hold on to it, because he knows that time is everything.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want the announcement out yet. And as long as they don't have the Bitcoin in their possession, then it's not a material announcement yet. Even if they have given them the money yet. But if the transaction's not complete and they don't have the Bitcoin in their physical possession, then the transaction's not done, and it is ongoing action.
Yeah.
So
Aaron,
yeah.
Aaron, we gotta go. I gotta get back over there. But Aaron found a couple wallets that had almost 5 billion worth of Bitcoin purchases too. We don't know who's there.
I know one of those is part of Binance's proof of reserves, and the other one looked like it was linked to transactions that far predate GameStop's. So I'm not a Bitcoin accounting forensic accounting expert, but I don't know. There's too much to go on there, but
okay. But we'll scratch that then.
But I would also say that it would not surprise me if GameStop is buying a significant amount of Bitcoin, it may show up in escrow somewhere first. So,
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
It's cool. Idea. Well, good. I'm glad we got to the Bitcoin stuff. It's still super important to all of us. It's a big deal. GameStop might get its run without any Bitcoin news, but who knows? Maybe that's what. I don't know. My super tinfoil is that RC and Roaring Kitty are trying to line up something, and RC's pointing to 512 by deleting that tweet, and we get all kinds of good shit by the time we post this this podcast. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. That'd be amazing. Hopefully by the time everyone listens to this, we're fucking blowing through 40 or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah,
probably not.
Yeah, and I will say that the cup and handle we talked about on GameStop on a smaller time frame earlier, if you zoom out to a longer time frame and use maybe daily candles on your crypto charts, it looks the same.
It's there too with in February you could see the shoulder. Yeah, I agree. I see them everywhere. So all right, I gotta go. I gotta go back to work now. But thanks you guys. Thanks for coming out early for me. I appreciate you guys making the change to the schedule.
Sure thing.
Thanks everyone. Yeah, thank you. Thanks everyone for listening. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Thank you. Happy Mother's Day.
Goodbye.
Yeah, happy Mother's Day. All right.
I love Echo's goodbye.
Yeah, it is good. Last week I could have let it go. There was another goodbye. I think it would have been funny if we just kept saying goodbye after each other. Because there's 6 goodbyes and there's only 4 of us.
It's buddy the elf, goodbye, buddy, goodbye.
Bye. Love you. Love you. Love you.